Jeremy from Jeremy.net, and today I want to talk about fear. Fear of a piece not being good enough, of fear of you not being good enough as an artist. And the reason why I'm talking about it is because of the piece that you're watching me work on. There's a small little thumbnail on the left side of the screen. That little watercolor picture is part of the watercolor studies that I've been doing for pieces before I start going to my layouts. I'm trying to work out my color schemes, sometimes doing just black and white tonal studies in watercolor. But, just trying to shore up and figure out exactly what I want out of the piece. And that watercolor thumbnail is the closest that I have gotten to what I want this piece to feel like. And this is the second time that I'm drawing it. The first time I drew it, I posted a video a couple weeks ago, and the wall was covered with weapons, almost like it made a grid, but it just didn't capture the feel for me. So I redrew this one, and as you can see, I took a little bit of photo reference, and I'm not in the same pose exactly as the blacksmith is in this piece. I'm a little bit more of a profile here, but the main reason why I wanted this photo was to get an understanding of what angle my arm should be at, or what angle the blacksmith's arm should be at, what angle the hammer should be at. Because the first time I drew it, it looked very awkward and unrealistic, so I was drawing the arm and the wrist and the hand over and over again. And that is something that, if you've watched a bunch of these videos, you've heard me say before. If you try redrawing something multiple times, it means you don't know what it looks like, so you need reference. There's no shame in that. I do it all the time. I start drawing something, and after drawing and erasing 2 or 3 times, I'm like, it isn't coming out right. I don't know it. I don't understand it. So the challenge here is more than just the anatomy of the pose, the anatomy of the hammer. It's the visualization of the final piece. That thumbnail isn't on the screen anymore, but the problem remains that I don't have a clear picture in my mind of what the final art should look like. I did thumbnails and sketches for a first version and started executing it. It didn't come out the way I wanted. I did a bunch more thumbnails for this version and watercolor studies. And when I did that watercolor study, that was the yellow-orange background with the blue figure. I felt like that emotionally felt like what I wanted the final piece to be. Almost to the point that I'm still trying to figure out how I'm going to go forward and do the final one, because I'm almost feeling like I need to move away from line art on this and really just do it as a full-on painting with light and tone. Maybe the drawing part will serve just as the loose undersketch, and I'll end up painting the whole thing digitally. We'll see. Usually line art, because of just the influence of working on comics for so many years, I tend to be very line dependent in my final pieces, regardless of how strong the color is. But this piece might need something different, and I think that's part of the problem here. Fear comes from the unknown. We're afraid of the unknown, and the fact that I've got this piece here, I've drawn it once, taking it all the way through my through some color studies, taking it through this layout, taking it to a final pencil drawing, and then I'll show you. I recorded the whole process. So you're gonna see me take this one and I flip it, make some corrections in gray tone or in graphite, and then I do a final pencil drawing of this one. And when I get to the final pencil drawing of that version, it still just isn't there. It's not doing it for me. So I went back and I took a lot more photo reference this time. I ended up doing a full-on photo shoot where I set up lights, props. I found an object, a box I could set up in the right position for the anvil, and I tried to full-on shoot this so that I can, I don't know if I'm going to trace directly over it, but I can really lay my reference side by side and get a good sense of what is and isn't working in the pose. And that's also another challenging thing, because when you find that the picture that's in your head or in your mind doesn't line up with what's in reality, you have to kind of make some hard decisions about, well, what's more important, the thing looking plausibly realistic or it capturing the emotion, the feel that you want. Because I'm not necessarily, part of it's that I'm not a photorealistic artist, but I've never been married to the idea of it has to look realistic. It just has to feel convincing. I mean, a lot of my favorite artists, I was looking at a Egon Schiele book earlier today. I was also looking at some Alfonso Mucha work. It might be Alphonse. I don't know if it's Alfonso. It's not Alfonso. It's Alphonse Mucha. It's neither here nor there. I'm getting into the weeds. Point being is that some of my favorite artists don't do work that is realism. It's representational. The faces in Mucha's work look very much like real faces. And he can do paintings that are photorealistic. But I don't think that realism per se is what he's going for. I would just say that it is a more realistic version of expressionism. And for me, what interests me is how a piece makes the viewer feel, how I feel when I look at it, how others feel when they look at it. And I've been getting close on this piece. I've been getting close to the feeling that I want. But it might be that because of how personal it is, and I've talked about this before, and people have mentioned it in the comments, that it might be because this piece is coming from a really personal place. It's literally about the struggle to make art. And maybe that's it. I'm putting so much on this piece because the concept is so lofty that on an emotional level, it's a weight that I can't quite figure out how to convey. And so, again, I'm going to do another layout of this. I'm going to go back to some more thumbnails, do some black and white and color studies. This one, it's not that it's a bad drawing. It just isn't, it's not there. I want to see just how far I can push this. I want this to be better than anything I've done before. And that's a lot to put on any given artist. Thanks for watching. If you enjoy these videos, please like and share them. Don't forget to click the subscribe button. You can sign up for my weekly newsletter to get a free digital comic at newsletter.jeremy.net. That's newsletter.gerimi.net. Also, visit my main website, jeremy.net, where you can buy my comic books, art prints, and more. There's also links to my Instagram, Twitter, and other social media accounts. That's it for now. Go be creative.